Hi, it's Janelle with Parsnips and Parsimony, and today I'm going to give you the end of June 2020 garden update. If you watched my May garden update, you can see how much things have grown here. The bee balm is finally starting to flower, as well as you can see the zinnias and the girls' flowers are all coming along quite nicely here. Strawberries aren't doing a whole lot this year. That's because they got transplanted, but they are growing a bit. I ended up planting canna lilies right along the back of the fence here, hoping that they will attract hummingbirds. We have our hummingbird feeder here, but we're trying to attract them into a more of a natural flowers such as the bee balm and the canna lilies. Our tomatoes here, these I don't think were in our May update. These were given to me. The neighbor had some extra ones, so I took some of our leftover garden trellises, put them in some buckets, and we're going to do some container tomato plants. The eggplants are doing phenomenal. They're just starting to get ready to bud, so very happy with that. And then our row of tomatoes are doing very, very well. We just started getting flowers, lots and lots of flowers on our tomatoes, so now we're just waiting. I am tying up as we go, as well as pruning, trying to keep the leaves off of the soil so there's no spreading of disease and things like that. Our jalapeno peppers are a little on the slow side, at least the jalapeno peppers. You'll see in a minute. The other peppers have gotten quite big. These are all volunteer sunflowers, and they are almost as tall as me. Look at that. They're almost up to my shoulder. In fact, the one back there is up to my head. It's amazing how fast they've grown here. Now, my big concern with them is that they are shading my pepper plants too much, but we've had so much heat. I'm thinking that it's actually beneficial for them. There they are. There's the pepper plants, and they look like they're doing okay. There's another pepper plant here. There's really only two directly in the shade, and the sunflowers are growing so big that I'm hoping that there's enough sunlight coming up underneath them. The thyme is doing beautifully there. We have some lovely dill coming, and then the zinnias are just starting to flower. My basil doing very well, and I had to replant the parsley a couple times to get it going. So we do have finally some parsley coming. It's not a lot, but I think by the time this gets established, it's going to be just when we need it. Unfortunately, the pepitas over here never ended up coming up, even though I planted them twice. So this will be turning into a lettuce plot here. And then my yellow squash is just on the verge of flowering. So you can see those guys right there. They're doing very well and nice and healthy. This is another variety of eggplant. They're a little bit smaller for whatever reason. However, they are actually closer to flowering than the other ones. I don't know why. Tomatoes getting ready to get staked up again. Really big and tall. Beautiful flowers. Oh, I'm so excited. These are our banana peppers, and wow, I have never had them so early, so big, and so prolific with peppers. There's flowers and buds all over the place, but look at this guy. That guy's coming right along here. I think the match trick did it, but I don't know for sure. And then over here, this was the original bed of the hoop house. Look at the size of that broccoli plant. I've never had one that big. Lydia's been picking the worms off for me, so it looks pretty healthy. No broccoli yet, but it should be coming pretty soon. And we've been harvesting lots of kale. There's some lettuce in there underneath the shade of the kale. You can see some lettuce here. Some beets, and then we have more beets all in front of that. Overall, the garden has grown a ton in a whole month. Out here by the chicken coop, we have our zinnias as well as some cosmos. These were all seeds that I put in coming up, and then we have one lonely eggplant right there, but it seems to be doing pretty well. And that's what we have back here by the chicken coop. The rhubarb has been doing fabulously. In fact, I've already done one large triple batch of strawberry rhubarb jello jam. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put the link in the description below. You can check that out. But this is just about ready to get picked a second time. And really, it's done very, very well this year. Trying to keep up with picking it so we can enjoy as much as we can this year of our rhubarb. Very, very healthy. Over here, you'll see we have all of our vining plants. This year we decided to put our vining plants outside the gardens. Don't step on the tips, sweetheart, please. Thank you. And they are finally doing well. We do have one pepita plant. This is a very sad looking pepita, but it's, well, we're hopeful that it'll produce. So doing very well on the outside, and this has really helped keep the inside of the garden neat and tidy. All right, so when we walk in, we have some volunteer dill plants on either side. I did leave those here just because I figured we'd have some earlier dill, and then my other seeds that I planted will be some later dill. So we'll have dill for most of the season. My cucumbers are, well, they're in the process of getting trained up the trellis, doing quite well. And let me tell you guys, if you ever see this type of bug on your cucumber plants, you need to take care of him and get rid of him. He's a striped cucumber beetle and he spreads disease. And you can see that I have some damage from them. And every day I come out here multiple times a day. Here's some more damage. I come out and I check for these little bugs. And so far I've been able to keep them pretty well under control, but they do spread disease and they will destroy your plants. So if you see them, take care of them. Planting behind the cucumber trellis was a very good strategy because it has proven to provide extra space. So I have carrots in the back row, and then look at this lovely lettuce. It's doing great here. So really happy. Great idea. If you are doing some trellising with your cucumbers, don't forget to use that space behind for other plants. My second row of cucumbers here, a little bit behind, we had some issues with cutworms eating some of those plants. So these are a little bit more behind. And then back here, I did have some extra space. So these are zucchiniano and spaghetti squash in these two hills. I have some of that planted up there, but we're going to have additional harvest here. And then back here, I planted a whole row of spinach. I've harvested some of that, and the rest is actually going to bolt. So this has to get taken out and redone for July. On the other side of the garden here, this is that horseradish that we harvested earlier this year. The manure, fabulous, fabulous. Look how it's grown. I mean, these are huge horseradish leaves. I'm so happy with it. And then our garlic here is just starting to come to the end. Probably another couple weeks and we'll be harvesting that. The kale up here is doing fairly well. We've had some beetles, haven't been as consistent picking off the beetle damage as you can see. These are all organic. I have not sprayed these with anything. Most of my pest control is just hand picking, but being in the back garden, I haven't had a chance to pick these off, as well as the ones up front. And then you can see the spinach has already bolted, and that needs to get all taken out and fed to the chickens. I originally had some pak choi here. That all bolted. We had such warm weather. We never ended up getting any produce out of that. But I do have this row of Swiss chard. We've been harvesting the baby leaves for salads. And then we have companion planting here. We started out with the green peas, which are still producing. We're getting close to almost that 1 pound mark. You can see those peas here. And then I have beans growing up at the base of them here, going up the vines. And then this here, I replanted more lettuce. That hasn't come up yet, but should be shortly. I feel like the recurrent theme here is replanting, and replanting more lettuce. And I think that's just because greens are something that we as a family go through a lot of. But I was also using some older seeds, so a lot of the seeds that I'm replanting actually aren't coming up. So I did buy some new leaf lettuce that is in the process of growing. It is sprouting, but all those older seeds that I kept planting didn't work so well. So note to self, lettuce seeds that are 3, 4, 5 years old, they don't come up. Our bean towers are doing quite well, and this is where I actually planted some of the lettuce. This has not come up. I have to replant this. But over here, I just planted some more lettuce here, and it's just starting to come up. This is the fresh stuff, and you can tell the difference. This came up in just a matter of days. So I will have lettuce that will be shaded underneath the bean trees. I'm hoping that will help us to continue to have lettuce throughout the season. Carrots, we have some carrots here. I went ahead and replanted. We have a volunteer parsnip, and when you have children help you, that is to be expected. So we're just going to leave that. It's not going to hurt anything. We'll harvest it in the fall. And up in the back here, we had more pak choi, gone. That did not hold up well, so we went ahead and planted a yellow squash there. We have our horseradish along the back, not growing as impressively as the other stuff, which is interesting to me. This is what we'll be harvesting next spring, but I have a feeling it's not going to be as big as the other stuff that we planted this year. This was all we got of the lettuce. Really, really sad looking crop. I haven't harvested yet. It's getting ready to get picked soon though, and then I will be replanting that again. More, got some more Swiss chard here, and then parsnips, as in Parsnips and Parsimony. We have parsnips. Potatoes did not do as well as we would have liked. Here, we planted all the way down to the end, and none of those plants came up except those two guys right there. I don't know why. Really, really strange. We're trying out the bucket of potatoes. Looks like it's doing well so far. We'll find out when we harvest our potatoes. So over here, I bought some peas that didn't need trellising. They're supposed to be self-trellising. I don't know how well it's going to work, but here they are. They're just starting to flower. My plan is once these are done flowering, we're going to put more bush beans in here. And then these are my potato plants back here. Again, you can't see it now. It rained and knocked down these plants. There are not that many actual plants. I probably put 30 potato plants in here, and we got 1, 2, 3 blue sets of blue potatoes, and this whole row here never finished coming up. I have no idea what I did wrong. I guess that's just how it goes. This is only the first time I've ever grown specifically made for the garden untreated potatoes. I don't know what I did, but well, we've got potatoes, at least some. And then bush beans here. These are just flowering, so I expect that we will be having beans. You can see the little baby beans in the next week or so. This will probably be enough for our family to eat for meals, not enough for canning. I'm hoping that the pole beans, the large amount of pole beans, will be our canned beans for winter time. And then lastly over here we have our zucchini. Have not yet figured out, remember I was planning on staking these up. I have yet to figure out how to actually tie it up, but it does seem to be growing up. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to figure out how to tie it up soon. What did you find?
A few of them.
Yeah, there's little baby zucchinis in there, aren't there? So in another couple days, we should have...
Or a week.
No, I don't think it'll even be a week. I think it's going to be sooner than that. And these guys are a little bit smaller, probably because this guy is so large. So there it is. That is my end of June Zone 5 garden tour update. It's coming along. Will be interesting to see how much produce we are able to get out of here. Continuing to replant. Follow us on this channel for our monthly updates, as well as our video where we will tally up all of the produce that we get out of this garden. The one thing I did fail to show you is our fruit trees. The cherry tree, we got about a half an ounce or an ounce of cherries. Our squirrels, we successfully, well, somewhat successfully treated this. We have brown rot on our cherries. This is not the first year we've had it, with a sulfur spray treatment. And then, well, Mr. Squirrel decided he wanted to eat them, so he ate most of our cherries. But over here, our peach tree is doing very, very well. We've been in the process of trying to thin them out. It's a really heavy crop this year, but very nice looking peaches. In fact, we need to spray these. These guys also get, look at that, yep. These also tend to get the brown rot, so we need to spray those. But really amazing crop. Look at all those peaches, Art.
I can't wait.
Oh, they're gonna be yummy. And this is, we have 2 trees.
3.
Oh, right, we have 3 peach trees, that's right. Our pear tree did not produce this year.
It's
Not.
ready to grow bigger.
Hey, Art. This has some stuff on it, though.
Uh-oh, what?
That's not good. Huh. See all the black stuff?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, I'm going to need to research that. Okay. Particularly on this branch here. I'm going to have to find out what's up with that. So this is our other peach tree over here. Not as prolific with its... Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
A bug got that one.
Yeah.
Probably going to pull that one off. That shouldn't be on there. I forgot. Whoop, right in the compost pile. How's it looking, Art?
Well, a lot of them have bugs, but last year a lot of them had bugs too. And just use the knife and cut out the bug spots.
And we found out that the brown rot, that is a fungal infection, and it usually enters the plants through those little bug holes. So it's kind of one of those catch-22 things. You treat the brown rot, but we didn't treat the bugs, all that. This here is our cherry tree. It's humongous. Didn't produce that well. Again, brown rot, we were a little late to the game with that. Our grape arbor here, well, I forgot to trim it this year. And it's gotten a little overgrown. I'm going to have to, there are grapes in there.
Last year I picked a few that I put in a container.
And we, you know, Art, we can spray that too for the black fungus that usually gets too. Wow. There's a recipe for stuffed grape leaves. These are so beautiful. That would be wonderful to make. Those are berries. Those particular ones did not get pollinated, I don't believe.
I don't think we were getting any berries this year.
No, I think there might have been some over here though.
We'll have to go hunt down some wild berries.
Crickers over here. See, look.
Wow, look how much that grew.
Crickers.
Yeah.
Mom, be careful where you step because those are...
But look, grapes, grapes, grapes. Then last we have our last peach tree here, which is also producing quite well.
Wait, you...
It's a very misshapen peach tree.
Yes.
However, it produces well, so that's misshapen is okay if it produces
And
well.
we have our elderberry.
That's right. I forgot the elderberry bush. The story that goes along with that peach tree. When I had just delivered Grace, who now is 5 years old, that tree was in need of pruning. And I looked out my window and I said to my midwife, I've got to get out there and prune that tree like now. And she goes, no, you don't. You just had a baby. You're not going to go out there. And I said, but if I don't, it's going to be forever misshapen. Well, I listened to the advice of my midwife and the tree is very misshapen. This is our elderberry. It looks good. It's in the process of flowering, and I'm hoping that it will produce a lot of elderberries that we can make.
It had aphids on it.
It did. Does it still have aphids on it, kiddo?
Probably
I haven't
do.
checked it recently. It had colonies and colonies of aphids. They were really bad.
Flowers are in the ground.
Yeah, the flowers are fine. They're just coming to the end. Lots of elderberry babies, and I am just letting this go and get big and wild. Let's see, any aphids? I think the aphids are pretty well gone, kiddo. Isn't that pretty? And there are the elderberries. They have to turn black before they're ripe, but it looks like they're doing pretty well so far. All right, I think that's a quick tour of the garden. We've got a couple blueberries, but nothing really fabulous. You can see everything seems to be growing fairly well, and we'll take you along and we'll show you what we get out of the garden as the months go on. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share us with your friends, and we'll see you for our next video. Bye.